Yes. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'm happy to be here. I hope you're working on these slides. The Vice Chancellor of this place happens to be my friend, Professor Mugisha. We've been together. The journey has been long. You're welcome to Mbarara. My OB Gashom from Senior 1 to Senior 6. We've been together and we shared a lot. We have read this is my student also. So his research. But I'm waiting for the returns. Postgraduate students, the BSU fraternity, top management, the deans, and all doctors. I don't know how many doctors we have in this room. So that we know. Oh, you're welcome. You know, when I was still at MOVES, we had a gentleman called Professor Sejaka, and they started introducing doctors one by one. But at the end of the day, we reminded them that you have missed one doctor there. And they said, it's hard for me to introduce a person who does not live like a PhD holder. I'm trying to say that you must be seen. You must live as a PhD holder. So that's what I was trying to know. The PhDs we are having here, who can help us here? This one is there, but here I'm not comfortable. Can we have IT guys to come and help us here? Vice Chancellor, thank you for inviting me and Atwine. I was contacted, I think 2 days ago, and I didn't want to miss this opportunity because when you talk about research is everything. You cannot put it in. Research is everything. That is a scientific investigation, a voyage on knowledge. You must walk the journey. A purpose-driven journey. Because at the end of the day, you must show us why you've taken that journey. Incidentally, VC these days, we are disappointed. People are just writing extended essays, and they present them as a PhD work. You know what an extended essay means? And it does not stop there. When I'm supervising my students, I normally engage them. Hiring mercenaries to do the PhD right for you. People have now started presenting work that don't match what is in their heads. That is a disappointment. And universities must move to change that advice. A person submits very good work, but normally asks a simple question: have you concluded? He doesn't know. Do you have a conclusion? The author does not know that he has a conclusion. So why are you wasting my time? I chase you. This is just where we have reached. And it is very unfortunate. I was asked to make a presentation on this area, except that now when I read here, there is a tendency of changing goalposts in the middle of the game. Sustainability has disappeared. But it is okay, because we are talking about research that is supposed to transform the community, and it must be there to change the lives, the welfare of our communities. I don't know why this is not working, but I cannot really read these small things. But harnessing research for sustainable community transformation. Sustainable community transformation. Why does a researcher exist? Why does a university exist? Universities are no longer considered as ivory towers. Institutions, the researchers exist to address the current challenges affecting the society, the communities. That's why you went to school. That's why you are a researcher. If at all you are a researcher. So when we talk about community transformation, we are talking about research that makes sense. The research that adds value. The research that can guide society, that can influence policy, so that it guides decision making at different levels. But if you are not careful these days, you might end up using the wrong information to worsen the situation. Because people, even now these days, they sit somewhere and forge data. Your topic is talking about women participation in something. But when you look at demographics, you find their name. But you've studied women. So what does that mean? So please, ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about how research can sustainably help in the transformation of our communities. I'm Nixon Kamkama Arnetwe, Professor of Business Management. You've been told I've retired. Professors don't retire. It's administration. I've been academic deputy vice chancellor in charge of academic affairs for the last 10 years at Barra University of Science and Technology, where success is a must. So I retired last month. What does that mean? I don't have salary for this month. Wow. Better is laughing. Can we share? Okay, this is running, but that is the way to go. I've been talking about work-life balance. I've been bold telling the whole community the organization is not your father's unit or property. Prepare. There's time for everything. This is where we are. Yes, now we are there. Are you reading? But maybe I don't know whether this site, maybe they will continue working with this. But let me continue because the VC was talking about this 3-minute presentation. And you can only do that if you know your work. If you don't know, then you will suffer, cannot make it. Okay, I want to begin by looking at global development challenges. Because that's where the issue is. What is it that is affecting us? What is it that we are living with? Why is our community complaining? Where is the issue? That's why we should go there as academicians, as researchers, address the challenges. But the world is at the turning point because we are living in a changing and unpredictable environment. When we used to do it yesterday, the story has changed. If you are not careful, you can be obsolete in 1 second and we put you aside because you are no longer relevant. Remember I was saying that you either publish or perish. You can also publish and perish depending on where you are publishing. Predatory journals. That's where many people are. You prepare something, manuscript, you submit the following day, it has been accepted, $300, and you claim that you have published. That is trash. That is one way of killing, destroying yourself. I've been telling my students at PhD level, if you are publishing and you want to go publishing predatory journals, those are fake journals. Don't put my name there. I cannot associate with myself with cheap things. We are at global level competing with professors for space in those powerful journals. But you want to something in future days, you are publishing it in 2 days. When you read the paper, the guy said the methodology, I will use this to do ABC. And it is published. Yeah, because the guy is interested in money, they're in business. So we have fake journals and we have fake researchers. People are now interested in the titles. You ask a person, why are you doing a PhD? I'm just interested in the title. The guy will say that at least I want to, when I die, I want them to mention doctor has died. It is not the matter of having a title, you will suffer with it. Because the community puts you at a certain level. You are a PhD holder. The reasoning, people tend to assess you, evaluate you. Are you a PhD material? There you are. So I was saying that the world is at a turning point. The challenges facing our communities are radical and far-reaching. When you go down there, what is the community? The VC was trying to define what a community is. It could be business, it could be institutions, schools, banks, society. There are many problems there. Who is supposed to address those problems? Because the world is changing. And you cannot keep the status quo. You must change. The dynamic capability theory talks about change. You have to be agile, think fast, act fast if you are to remain relevant in the changing world. If you want to remain where you are, we wish you the best. You always dance where others have been. You know what that means? You are dancing where others have been. It is already done. For you are always. You only benefit from leftovers. Issues such as global warming, I'm talking about what the society, communities face. Global warming, social exclusion, technological advancement, global health and food security pressures are critical. Socio-economic welfare of our community. These are the issues. Global warming. We can hardly now tell or monitor the season. For us, we knew the season when rain was supposed to get rains, but now it has changed. Technology has finished us. And I think now I wonder, now we are having artificial intelligence. Of course now even I pity lecturers and professors who go to class to teach. Students are ahead of you. ChatGPT and others. You are scribbling, you are trying to give your definition, the student has the best definition. So what are you teaching? A student is ahead of you. Forget about the Euro notes of 1990s. Lecturers who are still calling Euro notes, please get saved. The world has changed. ChatGPT and others have taken the center stage. So you are irrelevant and obsolete in the eyes of your students because they are ahead of you. Social exclusion, even at family level, technology has finished us. How are you going to remain relevant? Global health challenges, food security. People can hardly get food now. Who is going to solve a food security problem in the communities? Through research. How will you promote social inclusion? And of what benefit? So these are critical socio-economic welfare of our community. That's why we exist this year as universities. What are we doing here by the DSU? It's not about teaching. I know there are 3 core functions of a university: teaching, learning, research and innovation, community outreach. If you want to teach, go to primary school and carry your notes. And these days, you know, unfortunately, it's a shame. There are some professors who are hawking other people's content. From Uganda University, you pass via BSU, then Mass, then this other university, hawking the same notes. You are a hawker. For how long are we going to continue hawking? You are a professor. So sustainable community transformation must be a deliberate move. Must be collaborative and long-term process that reshapes social economic, environmental conditions to enhance quality of life without compromising future generations. Now, as we are trying to solve issues of food security, we tamper with the environment. And the future is compromised. So meaning that if we are talking about sustainable community transformation through research, can we first of all make it a deliberate move? Can it be an intentional move? You get focused. But you collaborate, you cannot do it alone, because we are looking at, you participate, you work with others. That's why we have collaborative research, multidisciplinary research, interdisciplinary, bring different disciplines together. You cannot be, you are from business, and you are talking about food security without bringing a person from agriculture, from food science. It's a combined effort to address challenges out there. But what we do here, my colleague was talking about grants, whatever, but people are interested in money. You get the money, instead of doing research, you go and buy 5 goats and build like a small house. Research money. When it comes to publication, it's something funny. I've published. What have you published? You've killed yourself. When I was still a student at PhD level, I published a paper. It took 2 years in the Journal of Intellectual Capital. 2 years. Change this, change this, change this, change this. 2 years. No money. But you are competing with professors at global level. And it was the best paper in that journal at global level. I was invited to Canada to get the prize. Yes, check, it is there. So I'm trying to say that social challenges, economic challenges, economic warfare, our fathers, our brothers are dying out there. Some are irrelevant, and at times when I'm moving around, I wonder why some people are leaving. Have you ever wondered why a person is leaving? The person is a cost to the society. Because what you do, you wake up in the morning, you drink, you eat the whole day, that is. What are you doing in this world? Assuming we are not born, what would have society lost? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Assuming we are not born. That's the most important thing, but we are talking about sustainable community transformation using research that is relevant. In research now, we are talking about application, research that can be applied to change the society. Not 5 say this, 10 say this. I was trying this because they have sports. So what? But specifically when we talk about sustainable community transformation, we are looking at economic empowerment. That's why some of us will refuse to retire, because you are not economically empowered. A man at 70 years, you are still negotiating for a contract. The other day when they met by the farewell party for me, a very serious one. And I told them, the people who are 60 and above, they should not be working. Because the world and office today is about having strong networks. People you're supposed to be networking with to push things right. You are alone. Whom are you going to work with? You don't have people, your intimates, who are still in key offices. Whom are you going to call? Because those who are there are young. They don't understand you. That's why it is important to retire and to go home and manage your own affairs. Otherwise, your friends died. And sustainable community transformation means food security. Are we okay? Can people access food, quality food? But to go out there in our communities, even here in town, there are many people who are struggling and pretending. We are pretending. A lot. You are renting a house, 2-room house. You are parking a vehicle at the landlord's house. You are having a fridge and a washing machine in the landlord's house. Wow. And you are claiming that you've moved. I can stop there. Wow. People are not living their lifestyles. Just because Kamkama has a child in an international school, I should also have my child in an international school. Just because Kamkama has gone for lunch and is ordering for rice, chicken, and also add side dish, and you are saying the same. We manage the same budget. That's where we are. Social inclusion, that is, if we have social community, sustainable community transformation, can we have an inclusive society? Can we all, if it means school, look at these social amenities, schools, hospitals, what? There is a lot of social exclusion. Even in the hospitals, when you go there, you cannot get the same services. When they see VC, yes, we can now, you come and you see. Private, what? Even in church. Front seats there, you greet people. Now you become a safety. When you've never, you talk to the people. Because at the end of the day, they're expecting something. There's a reverend who used to tell us, you are my gardens. Health community. Can we have? Look at what is health insurance in this world? Nothing. When you get sick, by the way, that's what I was saying. When you get sick, if you don't have even 500 shillings, you can die. You are just living by the grace of God. You are just there. Environmental protection. Look around how we have destroyed our environment. It goes back to community sustainability. Without an environment, you don't have a community. The pollution will go to Kampala and see what is happening here. Noise, air, congestion. How are we going? Like if you are doing research now, I'm coming up with a model how we can manage traffic in Barara, in Kampala. You are doing work. We are talking about application, action research, not academic research. Problem solving, because we are here to solve problems in our communities. Project them and know those problems and address them before they occur. the thing is not moving. It's this one, but it has changed the slide a bit, but it's okay. So harnessing community transformation, because the issue is sustainable harnessing research for community transformation. How do we get there? Can we get out of this ivory tower and we move on? But I'm trying to say that sustainable community transformation is not achieved by chance.
It is driven by evidence-based decisions, innovation, and inclusive participation. Can BSU team with MAST, with Makerere, with another university and another international university to address the problem? Because the thinking is different. If you want to do it here, the thinking of BSU may not go beyond the other stage. You are here. The people you are dealing with, they are the same. You are not adding any value. That is what we call collaborative research. Can you do it together? It's not achieved by chance. It's not automatic. If you want to harness community transformation, work with others. Innovate. The other day during COVID time, our colleague came up with COVIDX. Do we have people who think in this society? Or we are just carrying our heads around? There are people who carry heads and they are heavy because they don't use them. COVIDX Professor Ogwang is now an international scholar. And even if he dies today, he will not die because the name will remain. The other day I went with him to Dar es Salaam as a dive representing the VC. But the guy took a show. I was not even recognized. He was saying, selfie with Ogwang. Oh. I was just like a shamba boy. In Dar es Salaam there, in a conference. So, that is research we are talking about. It is an applied research and action research. Action-oriented, but not academic-oriented. Can we think? Can we innovate? Can we add? Of course, it is about coming up with something new. I've talked about inclusive participation. This fund you are talking about, what is the composition of that research team? Do you bring teachers, business people, agriculturalists, lawyers on a team to do that research? But if it is factors affecting Barara business community, that is trash. And you get money for what? If you want those factors, just Google, you'll get them. We want you to solve problems. Problems, what are you solving? Application. Some of you must have read in China, to get a PhD, you must develop a product and a service. Just come up with a product and you get your PhD. Full stop. But not this business of gambling. My thesis is ready. When in actual sense, the battery is very low. I don't know whether you have power here. So, harnessing research for sustainable community transformation requires more than the generation of knowledge. We are no longer in the world of generating knowledge for the sake of generating it. I've published, so what? We want application. How have you solved the problem in the community there? Because your paper is going to be read, but what value does it add? It demands intentional collaboration, inclusive participation, and practical application. That's what I was talking about. Research becomes truly transformative when it is grounded in the lived realities of communities. Lived realities of communities. Co-created with stakeholders and aligned with local priorities and cultural contexts. Understand this. We must do research for communities, with communities, but not on communities. Do research for communities, with communities, but not on communities. The research we do is always on communities. But do they participate? And that's why there is a problem. Even you do research in a community, they don't know that you have even done any research. Stakeholders are key to bring them on board. But sustainable community transformation that is achieved when evidence-based insights form policy, guide resource allocation, and shape programs that address root cause rather than symptoms. We intend to address, our research is based on symptoms, but you are not tackling the real issue. You don't know why the child is coughing, but for you, concentrate on coughing. How many times do you cough in a day? 7 said 8 times. You see why you've concentrated. Therefore, coughing is rampant. That is a conclusion. And you want to publish. But you've not tackled the issue. Allocation of resources, you must shape, of course, the cause. We must define the problem. Effective community involvement in research is key and requires building trust from outset, ensuring authentic partnership across all stages in the research process rather than treating it as a checkbox exercise. Inclusiveness. Can you bring me on board so that I understand what you are doing? If your instrument is in English, just put it in the local language. Involve me, because that's when research will be meaningful. That is what we call community mapping. Can you involve them in the research process so that they can participate in defining the problem they are facing, instead of you defining the problem for them? That's why we have ethnographic studies. Live with them, prove what they do, feel it, and that's when you will be able to understand the problem. Research becomes transformative when it is community-driven, action-oriented, and sustainable. But what do we do? What do we do here? So, having said all that, how do we achieve that? Research that will be meaningful. Research that will drive decision-making. Because we're talking about information generation. It is the information that will drive, that will guide policymakers to make important decisions. If you're talking about UPE, who has now gone into to make a case or evaluate the success and where the gaps? But we are here talking. So key strategies. What do we? Integration of interdisciplinary approaches. That's what I was talking about. What is the composition of this research team? If you prioritize money, then you say, you are bringing many people. Because you are looking at sharing. There are people even who have disappeared with money. I don't know whether Gashwam you have war here. A person is getting the money, but he has never written a sentence. We have them. I hope they are not here. Leveraging local knowledge systems. By the way, let me tell you, the Kaziris of this world, they know more than what you know. Can you bring them on board? This is what I mean by local knowledge. Can you bring them on board? They have solved many problems. What you have actually failed to address as a university. Soon, we are going to have the Kaziris come and take over and lecture. Because they can innovate and address society problems. Because for you, you've mastered the art of publishing other people's content, yellow notes. When we were at university, there is a young man who was almost being chased from Faculty of Technology because there was a professor teaching day one, the whole week, the whole month. The young man was seated in front and he was not writing. Professor, you man, why are you not writing? The professor got concerned. And the young man said, I have notes. Where? You told my dad. You told my dad. The same notes. So, yellow notes, do we make any research before you go to class? Under normal circumstances, you are supposed to go to class without notes. Go out there and talk and engage them. Engage them into a discussion. Be challenged also. So we are trying to say that ethical engagement, transparency, continuous feedback mechanism ensure that research remains accountable and adaptive to changing circumstances. Can we monitor the changes? Even when you are dancing, you must monitor. The number, it might change. You cannot remain dancing the same way. Can you monitor? Can you be attentive? You cannot the same. But now it is changing. Can we live in this environment and tune our research to match what is taking place in the environment we are living in? University or institutions' research ideas have to be embedded in the challenges and needs of the society, communities. Why do you waste time? I'm trying to innovate a aeroplane. Find people making this or whatever. How is it going to help a common man? A common man will never fly in an aeroplane. A common man needs food. A common man needs fire or fuel. A common man needs medicine. A common man needs shelter. There are people who are using these bottles to make shelter. It is being innovative. But you are now saying, I'm making an aeroplane. How? Can we tailor our problems, our research focus, ideas on what is happening out there? Can you get there? We have a problem these days, and I don't know whether your students are doing the same here. A guy is doing, the guy did agriculture and got first class, and they asked him to explain what a cow is about, how many teats. The guy doesn't know. And he did animal husbandry, first class. And now these are the guys we are sending the field there to help farmers. And when they get there, farmers challenge them and they run away. So where are we going? Can we now bring the community into a lecture room, or we take a lecture room to the community placement? Lecture rooms are getting out of order, outdated. VC, it is now time to invest in technology and community facilities instead of building these powerful lecture rooms. A lecture room now is in the community. Competence-based education. That's what is coming. Spend 80% of your time in the field and 20% in a classroom. But even in a classroom, they say, meet them online. They should not appear here. When they appear here, you are causing unnecessary costs. You water, electricity, you bring commotion here, strike. Can we meet you where you are? Online. And you are in the field looking at the cow. So that's why we are emphasizing embed your research area should be embedded in the challenges or needs of the society. Application of applied or action research as opposed to academic or basic research. I think that's where we should go. Problem solving, not basic. Have published, have the gap, have bridged the gap, have made the contribution to existing literature. But what is the application? Solve my problem. Address my problem I'm facing as a community. Instead of pretending that you've done research. It is action-oriented research. If I'm having headache, doctors actually do applied research. They take you through the processes. How do you feel? What is hurting you when you swallow? What happens? That is applied research, but not basic research that there is a relationship between and this and this. That is outdated now. Make a product so that you get your PhD. The research you do should influence policy. That's when research will be meaningful. Policy, education, health, those sectors, how will the community benefit? Present evidence to policymakers, except that now these days, politicians have taken a center stage. Even if you advise, they will not appreciate it. That's where we are. Participate in stakeholders forums. Where do you present your findings? Any conference or what, or whatever, making a presentation or whatever. Others, by the way, they generate work, but they can't present it. And that's why we are having a problem. We have researchers. We want researchers who are committed. Not a PhD that is taking 1 year. No. We are now have to emphasize community mapping to identify community priorities, challenges, and opportunities. Community mapping. Go there, let the affected people map or define what they want. Give you their priorities, the challenges. When it comes to concept mapping, that is the very first stage in the research process where you are putting broken parts together. Let them participate so that they define what is affecting them. Begin from there, but don't take your idea to them. Get an idea from them so that they participate, they work with you in the entire process. Ownership. Promote participatory research approaches. How do we do it if we are to have sustainable research that will help the communities? encourage local leadership in project design and implementation. The money you are getting from BSU, do you involve them? Which problems are you solving? Can you involve local leadership? Because we are talking about community transformation. That is key. Let us not transform our bodies by enjoying the little money. Integrate indigenous knowledge with scientific method. You have a scientific approach, but they have the local knowledge. Can you combine, can you integrate the two? It will make a lot of sense. Kazire is lacking machinery, equipment, labs. Even the other guy who makes those local hubs is lacking the technology. And the university, you have technology. Why can't you have a team that can make sense and you address the problem? Use participatory data collection methods, focus group discussion, and others. Can we be with them? And they will appreciate, because what we are looking at is ownership, buy-in, so that they become part of the group. And by bringing them on board, we are talking about sustainable transformation. Formation of community advisory boards. They will help. They can advise. And you will get to know what is happening. Like we could look at, of course, ethnographic studies. There is a guy, of course, if you want to understand what those people who sell themselves at night, what they go through to understand them, you must live with them and do what they do. You are collecting data through observation. Those are ethnographic studies, qualitative in nature. If you want to know what the community, the challenges the community is suffering, you have to be with them for some time, but not cross-section design, a spot on, collect data and disappear. Can you use longitudinal design that works hand in hand probably with ethnographic research designs? Be with them. Do what they do without knowing what they are doing. I remember there was a certain guy, the government engaged a person to do an ethnographic study, and at the end of the day, the guy got married to that person. Data was collected, and at the end of the day, after providing the findings, the guy was imprisoned in America. And they divorced immediately. That is an ethnographic study. It happened here in Uganda, those who were not yet born. So please, we must know what, that is community mapping. Let's be there. Let's live with them. They understand to address community challenges. Otherwise, VC, we are becoming a liability and costs in the near future. The society will disown us. And when the VC gets cough, he moves to Kazire. So what is your role now as a university? If you cannot have a product, but now you are going to Kazire, if it's the case, bring Kazire in this university. Give him a job, and he teaches. He partners with these students. They will appreciate, and the problem of the communities will be solved. Linking universities, government, communities, and other bodies, we need to promote community outreaches for continuous interaction, experience sharing, strong partnerships between academia, government, civil society, and the private sector. When are we going to the field? Community outreach. When time for community placement comes, say, we don't have money, You can go there for just 1 week. What are you going to do there? We must be part, parcel of the communities. If you are doing agriculture, can you be on the farm for 75% of your time at the university? It makes a lot of sense. You've mastered, you have done research in ticks or whatever, but you've never seen a tick. And you are there. You are a professor, a PhD holder, and your specialty is the management of ticks. But you've never seen even any, leave alone treating a cow. You see the cow, you run away. Let's have private sector on board, because it should be a strong team. Teach research students sustainable competencies that allow them to learn to learn. Yes. Can you unlearn in order to learn? To do